I was recently asked to do a breakdown on Jalen Brunson's game, and more specifically on how he gets to his spots so well. So there's a couple of things I want to go over on what he does effectively. So a big part of his game is the post game. However, after watching some of his film, I found a lot of other stuff I do want to go over as well. So I think I'll save the post game for another video. Some of the other qualities he has that just makes him a very effective player is I would say he's not a very athletic player, right? He is a shorter guard, but his physicality is on another level. And you'll see that in some of the clips coming up here. As a player, he's also very unpredictable. This is you really see this in his pull-ups. We'll get into that as well. I think my favorite thing I saw in his film was his ability to use hostage dribbles and snake dribbles on screens. He's also by using these, he's also very patient and poised. So he uses those hostage dribbles to slow the game down and play at his own pace and get to his spots very well. After doing this, he's good at using his floaters to score. As a smaller guard, he can't just go straight up with it, but he has very good floater game, a very good touch around the rim, making him an effective scorer in the paint. And by using the hostage dribbles, it helps him be more effective at drawing fouls. And that's just because he uses the defense's momentum against him. I think a big thing with him is his ability to score off anything. So in some of the clips I saw, he could score off just a left-right footwork, a right-left, but then that one-legged turnaround, the maybe awkward kind of shot. And I think that's just a great example of how we should be training, right? Not in the perfect setting of what we hope to see, but in the setting of what we might see. And we can do this by designing the practices to be more game-like, right? Where it requires to be unpredictable, be adaptable. So I found that really interesting about his game. We'll get into some clips here. So I want you to keep all of these in mind while we go through these. And we'll break it down just a bit more here, okay? So first clip here. Now, a lot of these clips I got are from one or two games, and I find it very interesting how consistent he is with some of these things I just talked about. So we'll go back here. This is what I mean by a hostage dribble. So he comes off this handoff, right? Immediately gets in front of his defender, uses that deceleration, right? And that creates a one-on-one. Let me get my pen here. That creates a one-on-one with him and Embiid, right? Now he also has that patience, right, and that poise to see the game, right? So he's not rushed by this defender. This defender can't do much behind him. As soon as he tries to do something, Brunson uses that against him and draws that foul. So now Brunson has control of the game. He can see what's going on. As soon as he steps in front of him, Brunson feels that and is able to get into that fadeaway, which he does a lot and he's very effective on. So again, uses that contact to get by him. Like I said, he's one of the most physical players I've seen. And then he uses that contact to get in front of his player again. Uses that decel and then gets into that floater game. So again, that contact, and that's the other thing I didn't mention, is his ability to create that contact and get out into space. A lot of his game, even though he's a smaller guard, he doesn't rely on the three ball as much as some other guards, right? That's why when I was breaking down his film, I was very surprised on how well he was able to finish inside the paint and how well he was able to play with guys that were bigger than him, right? How he was able to get to his spots effectively, but they weren't threes, right? He uses that contact for everything you see in his game. And his mid-range game also helps him open up the floor to be able to get into, again, cuts his defender off, uses that deceleration, and is able to get into that floater. But he uses that contact and gets into his mid-range with those fadeaways, and that helps create more space for him too, right? He's a 3-level threat. So if he does have that 3-ball, he can shoot it. But again, he can also, off that contact, get into a quick, unpredictable jump out to the mid-range jumper, or he can take it all the way to the rim. So here, you notice how slow he comes off that screen, right? He's able to read this 2-man game now, right? And by cutting his defender off, again, if you can only take one thing away from this breakdown, it's his ability to use that hostage dribble. It automatically creates that advantage. So now he's taken his defender out of the play. Now it's a 2-on-1 with Embiid, and he has time. And then again, uses that contact to get out to space for that mid-range that he loves. Again, so again, so using that hostage dribble, but now we're going to talk about the ability to draw fouls. So we rewatch that, right? He uses that hostage dribble again, but then stops on a dime and uses the defense's momentum against them, right? So he gets in front of them, stops, and since it's unpredictable, right? They can't stop in time, so they end up committing the foul. And most times it's a easy and one, or two shots at the foul line. But since they're behind him, it leads to a pretty easy, uncontested floater that he already is so good at, and now he's getting the and one with it. So there's just another clip of his, ability of his floater game, sorry. And again, finishing outside the box, right? It's important as a small guard. So here again, snakes that dribble. So what I mean by snake the screen, kind of goes into a hostage dribble there. I have a better one of snaking it later. But again, snaking it, coming off that screen, just cutting his defender off into that hostage dribble. Uses that for the patience, right? Uses that hostage dribble to just kind of slow the game down, and then he's able to control it. Again, all parts of his physicality. And there, just another example of the hostage dribble. Right, see the deceptiveness, and then that physicality into the fadeaway. And that's a big part of his post game, right? He's a smaller guard, but that doesn't force him to get away from the post game. And I think that's a big thing with a lot of guards is they don't have any idea on how to play in the post, but those skills are helpful, right? And even sorry, even if you don't play in the post as much as Brunson does, the skills you have there, right? The ability to maybe hop into a jumper, maybe fade into a jumper, can all be used in maybe the higher post and like the mid range, like how he does there, how he uses that contact, kind of gets into a hop jumper. All the skills are very effective no matter what position you are. So it's been a lot of hostage dribble so far, but again, this is just an example of coming off that screen. He does have the ability of playing at higher speeds, but I noticed he does play excuse me, play very slow most of the time. Right? And again, this goes back to his patience. Comes off the screen. Again, kind of just going in almost like a speed walk here. Reading the defense. Notice Wemby's dropping back, right? For that explosion to the net. So he immediately gets into that pull up fast. Like notice how fast that pull up is. And he makes it look like he's gonna drive too. He uses that threat of being such a good finisher around the rim to his advantage, right? Most guards use the ability to shoot the three. I notice with him, he uses more of his ability to finish at the rim and get by his defender and draw the foul. So again, uses that contact to get into his mid-range. There's a couple more clips here. Again, very patient, very slow, takes his time, reads the defense, and he uses it. And again, it all comes back to that contact. He uses that contact to help him be that slow and be able to just play his game, right? He doesn't let the defense kind of dictate how he plays. He dictates how the defense plays, which that's a skill that if you have that skill, you will be a nightmare on the court to guard. Again, so there's his post game a bit more. So here comes off the screen. This is where he snakes that dribble, right? Cuts him off. Notice how slow he is here. And then that quick burst of explosion. Notice how far Wemby's back. And is able to quickly explode into that pull-up jumper. Very, again, being just unpredictable. So that's all the clips for that. Again, biggest thing I want you to take out of this is his ability to use that hostage dribble. And again, the snake screen is basically what he just did on that last screen there. So if they come over the screen, then you can kind of go around the screener like he did there. And that's just what they call a snake dribble. That's just getting out to the open space on the other side. So we'll do the hopefully go over the post game in a different video. But again, big things to take away from this is how physical he is, right? He's not the fastest. He can't posterize people, but he uses not even the size, just strength and overall like balance and physicality to get to his spots and again control the game, right? And that goes back to his patience and poise, right? He doesn't rush it. He plays. He gets control of the game, and he uses that to his advantage. And then he's able to capitalize on that with his floaters and his touch around the rim. And then again, all that's tied into him being unpredictable, right? So he might cut you off and then stop on a dime and draw the foul, or he might use that your momentum to get him into that floater. He also might use that contact to get into a little hop jumper out into the open space, right? You just never know with him. You can know his tendencies, but he's very unpredictable on what he's actually going to do. That's what makes him so hard to guard. So I hope this provided some more information on his game. He was a very interesting player to break down. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any players that you want to, if you have any players that you want me to break down, just let me know and I'll definitely do that.